Has the Jackal reached the end of his fate after being betrayed by both his wife and his employer?
I will come, and I will find you.
This is the most heart-wrenching ending for the Jackal. In this final episode, not only is he ruthlessly betrayed by his employer, but he must also face the departure of his beloved wife. This intense and thrilling showdown also lays the groundwork for the confirmed second season. Let's dive right in. The shocking global assassination had just concluded. The Jackal, with meticulous planning, delivered a clean headshot to the billionaire, executing the mission with seamless precision. Before he could even change into a disguise, the police closed in with overwhelming force, turning the scene into a relentless manhunt. He's forced to flee the scene in a BMW, hurtling through the city streets. He slams the gas pedal, careening through neighborhoods, crushing roadblocks, mowing down 2 patrol cops without hesitation, and guns it into a full-throttle sprint. Thankfully, he's memorized every escape route in this town like the back of his hand. As police cars close in, he's eerily composed, maneuvering the sleek beast through a maze of tight alleyways with surgical precision. The BMW darts through a shoebox-sized passage, leaving pursuing squad cars wedged like tin cans in its wake. A smirk curls across his lips as he hits the gas again, surging forward. But out of nowhere, a police motorcycle bursts in from the side, catching him off guard. He instantly jerks the steering wheel, sending the car charging down a flight of stairs at full speed. Up ahead, a sharp, hairpin turn. The Jackal doesn't hesitate. He whips the car into a perfect drift, tires screeching like a banshee. The cop on the bike, coming in too hot, can't react in time. He crashes hard into the pavement with a bone-rattling thud. Just when the Jackal thinks he's finally shaken the chase, a police roadblock materializes ahead. Officers scramble to unroll spike strips across the asphalt, but the Jackal is quicker. With a fierce flick of the wheel, he pulls off a slick 180 power slide, dodging the trap like a viper slipping through a snare. The patrol car behind him isn't so lucky. K.A. boom! Its tires explode on the spikes, and the vehicle is left crippled in a cloud of smoke. Using his expert driving skills, he smashes through the blockade and finally shakes off all his pursuers. Just as he thinks he's clear and is tearing down the road at breakneck speed, a sudden sharp turn reveals a young boy picking up a ball in the middle of the street. Instinctively, the Jackal jerks the steering wheel hard. The BMW instantly loses control, careening off the road. The car tumbles wildly, rolling over several times before crashing heavily into a deep roadside ditch. Sparks fly from the chassis as the violent collisions ignite flames underneath.
The brutal impact knocks the Jackal unconscious. Luckily, a passing truck's roaring engine jolts him awake. A Good Samaritan driver quickly calls the police and rushes over to help. Seeing this, the Jackal shouts for help. The man struggles to pry open the passenger door and pulls out the suitcase. Taking advantage of the moment, the Jackal slips a handgun into his pocket. With the man's aid, he finally escapes the wrecked car. Noticing the blood dripping from the Jackal's hand, the man frantically dials for a doctor, but suddenly, the Jackal pulls out a weapon from the car. Shocked, the man raises his hands, shaking his head desperately, pleading for mercy. The Jackal's cold exterior softens just slightly as he calmly asks where the truck keys are. He takes the man's phone and sets it on the passenger seat. His eyes flick up to the boy's mother upstairs, frantically calling for help. But he doesn't stay. He fires up the truck and speeds off. After arriving deep in the forest, the Jackal carefully reinvents his appearance. He slips on a pair of glasses, altering his features before extracting his weapons and the suitcase. With a calculated precision, he ignites the truck's cab. With all his might, he shoves the truck into the deep pit. Only a total explosion can erase every trace. But losing his transport turns fugitive journey into a nightmare of new hurdles. As he racks his brain for a play, his eyes lock on to an elderly couple camping in the distance. After moments of observation, he puts on a wedding ring and approaches them. With a convincingly injured arm, he feigns distress, casually mentioning his history of high blood pressure and pleading for their help. Though the couple remains wary, their sympathy ultimately prevails. They reluctantly but kindly agree to take him in, offering him a ride to the nearest hospital.
The Jackal certainly has one of those naturally likable faces. Charming, calm, easy to trust. As the three of them drive along, the car fills with light chatter and gentle laughter. Then, mid-conversation, the Jackal casually glances at the map and suddenly pulls a weapon from his pocket. Still smiling, still polite, he calmly announces a change of plans. They're heading to the Montenegrin border, an 80-minute detour. The elderly couple stiffens at his tone. When they refuse, the Jackal quietly cocks the pistol. Panic washes over their faces in an instant. He assures them he doesn't intend to hurt anyone. He just needs the car. With no choice, the old man reluctantly starts driving toward the border. It's deep into the night by the time they arrive at the checkpoint, only to find it swarming with heavily armed officers and sniffer dogs. The Jackal immediately realizes there's no chance of slipping through unnoticed. He quickly scans the map, then instructs the old man to turn into the right-hand lane. After driving for a while, the Jackal suggests taking a short break. It almost seems like a genuine gesture. Perhaps he really wants the couple to recover from the long, tense ride. But deep down, the old man knows the truth. The Jackal has no intention of letting them live. The old man steps out for a smoke, and the Jackal follows. They stand facing each other. The old man offers the Jackal a cigarette, then kindly lights it for him. After a brief pause, he gets straight to the point, asking if the Jackal intends to kill them. Looking at the old man's weary face, the Jackal sees the image of his own parents. He firmly replies that he won't hurt them.
The Jackal explains that they are like parents to him, both good people. The old man crushes out his cigarette, makes a meaningful remark,
If they were so nice, where did you come from?
then turns and walks back to the camper van. His words linger in the air, like smoke. The Jackal stands still for a moment before getting back into the camper van. He truly has no intention of hurting them, so he turns his back to the couple, giving them space, letting them rest in peace. Just then, the old woman quietly pulls out a fruit knife and plunges it straight into the Jackal's back. He rips it out in an instant, spinning around to glare at her, shock, rage. At this moment, the Jackal might have still been considering sparing the kind-hearted elderly couple, until the old man suddenly lunges, knocking him to the ground. Amid the chaos, the Jackal's pistol slips from his grasp. The old man releases his grip on the Jackal's throat and dives for the fallen weapon. Seeing this, the Jackal immediately grabs his hand. The Jackal grabs his arm. The two men grapple, locked in a brutal struggle. Then, a gunshot. The old man staggers to his feet, blood already soaking through his shirt. He turns to look at his wife, but before a word can leave his lips, the Jackal fires again. Now the situation has spiraled beyond redemption. Terrified, the old woman trembles uncontrollably, her body racked by horror. The Jackal snarls in vexation.
Why couldn't you just let it go?
After a pained glance at the old woman, the Jackal knows there's no escape. He must end her life. The conflict, erupting from misunderstanding and tension, has forged an irreversible tragedy. He's forced to take two innocent lives. With a tortured howl, he realizes that in the couple's place, no one would have trusted a killer to show mercy. For them, fighting to the death wasn't just an option. It was survival. With numbed precision, he siphons gasoline from the tank using a hose and steps into the camper van. He places the fuel canister on the seat, carefully wraps a small propane cylinder in tinfoil, and slides it into the microwave. After closing the door and setting the timer, he flicks open all gas valves. Grabbing his luggage, he marches briskly out of the camper van. Seconds later, a thunderous explosion rips through the air, engulfing the vehicle in a fireball that reduces the camper van to smoldering wreckage. Meanwhile, the storyline on the police and employers' side quietly unfolds. News of the billionaire's death spreads like wildfire, and the mastermind behind the scenes secretly revels in the Jackal's deadly efficiency. Yet, he has no intention of honoring the final payment. Instead, he orders his men to permanently silence this problem. Their scheme? To let the police do the dirty work. Using underhanded connections, they bribe the head of London's police force, assigning the mission to Bianca, a tenacious detective who spent months doggedly pursuing the Jackal. Hungry for a career-making arrest, she leaps at the chance. In the previous episode, the Jackal eliminated the local crime lord for his brother-in-law. Following this trail, Bianca swiftly connects the mysterious sniper to the Jackal. She and her partner make a dash for Spain, where they stumble upon a crucial lead at the local precinct. A man's sister is married to a wealthy businessman named Caltero. The name instantly reminds Bianca of the deceased top sniper, and she's convinced she's found the right target. Fully armed, she stakes out the Jackal's residence. While lying in wait, she spots the Jackal's wife, Anna, and becomes even more certain this is his lair. As a true police officer, she decides to keep her position and let the Jackal come to her, hoping to use him to uncover the real mastermind behind the scenes, rather than simply kill him on the spot. Meanwhile, the Jackal uses the elderly couple's phone to call his wife, fantasizing about a beautiful life ahead, where the three of them will flee together in the near future. However, Anna harbors doubts about her husband, the hitman, and is overwhelmed with confusion, unsure of how to face him. After a night of contemplation, Anna finally makes up her mind. She goes to the Jackal's secret chamber, takes some cash, and hastily packs a few clothes. When she sees the wooden airplane her husband carefully made for their child, tears stream down her face. After blowing up the couple's camper van, the Jackal begins returning to Spain under a new identity. First, he boards a bus where the police officer knows the female driver. The officer only checks the passengers' passports briefly before letting the bus cross the border with ease. Later, the Jackal arrives at the airport and smoothly passes through security with his new identity. While waiting to board, he uses a computer in the airport hall to contact his employer, demanding the remaining payment be settled within 24 hours. The employer, Julie, immediately reaches out to the mastermind, whose secretary tells her to wait at a hotel for a man named Simon, who will contact her shortly. But Julie realizes something is off. If the mastermind wants to avoid payment, she'll be the first target. Killing her is much easier than killing the Jackal. She becomes cautious and waits in the hotel lobby. Watching Simon and his boss, she confirms they have no intention of paying. She flees. Julie knows the Jackal. If crossed, he will make them pay. Now being hunted herself, her only chance of survival is to help him. Back in Spain, Bianca and her team continue the stakeout. When a taxi arrives, Bianca spots Anna, carrying a child in a small bag. Her colleague asks if they should follow, but Bianca notices that Anna didn't drive her own car. She likely plans to escape. Bianca chooses to stay and wait for the Jackal. On the taxi, Anna sobs uncontrollably. She can no longer live with a killer. Soon after, the Jackal returns home, and Bianca, watching from a distance, sees the wound on his shoulder, her first glimpse of the Jackal's true face. When the Jackal discovers his wife and child are gone, he panics. Julie calls, warning that the police have found his hideout. He rushes to his secret room and notices some cash is missing, confirming his wife's intentions. But there's no time to dwell. His drunken brother-in-law, hearing a noise, walks into the living room with a gun, only to be shot dead by Bianca the next second. The gunshot startles the Jackal. He seals off his secret room and assembles a silenced pistol. Bianca enters the bedroom, sees the family photo on the wall, and begins to search, unaware that the Jackal is watching from behind the mirror. As a top-tier assassin, the Jackal has many ways to kill Bianca, and he strikes quickly. Bianca's partner dies instantly. She regains her senses and reacts by instinct. Her breath becomes heavy. She shouts that she doesn't want to kill him. She just wants to catch the mastermind. She asks why he became a killer. Hearing her voice, the Jackal doesn't attack. Instead, he asks her a question.
Why do you?
Bianca turns and replies, but the Jackal moves like a ghost, instantly appearing elsewhere. Bianca continues shouting, I saw your wife leave with your child. I can help you. But everything happens too fast. She too falls. At the airport, Anna holds her child tightly. Seeing a call from her husband, she throws the phone into a trash bin without hesitation. The Jackal, always calm, can't accept this betrayal. He roars in fury.
I'll find you.
Just then, a car crashes into him, but this isn't the end. Later, the door of a bus opens. A handsome man steps out casually. It's the Jackal. Once again, he's escaped death. The police have lost track of him. Now, only 2 goals remain, finding his wife and collecting the debt owed. At a park bench, Julie is already waiting. She hands him a newspaper, pointing to the photo of the mastermind. She asks how he survived the trap. The Jackal doesn't answer. He only says, before that, I need to find someone. Season 2's path is set. On one side, he must track down the wife who left him. On the other, he must go to New York to reclaim what he's owed. But what awaits him is far more dangerous than anything he's faced before.